I'm Eden Carey, and you're going to learn how to make a cinemagraph using Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud. I already have my assets in a folder, and I've named that folder correctly. Organization, very important. I have my still image that I'm going to be using, which is of myself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a video, which is going to be a reflection of the beach, into the lenses of my sunglasses, and that's going to be the cinemagraph. Here is a final copy of what it looks like. So that's what we're going to create. So what you need to do is have Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud downloaded onto your computer. And I'm just going to do a little bit of a cheat, which is just grab that still picture that I want, and I'm just going to drag it down to the dock. Okay, otherwise you can just go File, Import. But this way is just a little bit quicker and goes to the correct dimensions for me. So I have that photo set up there, and as you can see in my layers on the right hand side, I've already created my video timeline, but if you haven't got this on your screen, you just go to Window and you just make sure that there is a tick next to Timeline. So if yours doesn't have it, Window and Timeline, because that is important to use. Also, if yours doesn't say Create Video Timeline, you just hit the down arrow and you switch it from frame animation to video, okay? So we're going to use Video Timelines to make sure that one is selected. And then all you have to do is hit the button and it will create it for you. So that is it there. Awesome. What we're going to do now is we're going to import our video. So what we need to do first is click here, just that little drop down arrow, and we're going to click on New Video Group, and that will just make an additional layer for us. As you can see, it has replicated that over on the right hand side. And then we're just going to click the down arrow again in our new group, Add Media, and that's when we're going to add our video. So that's where we already created our folder, which was on our desktop. I put in my Cinemagraph, and there is my MOV there. So I'm going to add that one, open. Okay, and then we would just want to drag. Okay, if yours doesn't have the adjustable controls up here, when it's selected, just go up here to the menu bar and just make sure that is selected. So if you don't see anything, just make sure it's selected, and then you can enlarge and resize, rotate, if you just hover over the corner, whatever you need to do to make it suitable for what you're trying to achieve. I'm going to set this over my sunglasses. Now, as you can notice, when you hide, you're like, oh, I don't know where the rocks are. I really want the rocks. Are they over the glasses? You don't really know. So what you can do with that video layer selected, and you see opacity, you can actually change that down a little bit, as you can see. That just enough to see the video, but also see a little bit of the glasses that come through. So changing the opacity of the video just helps in knowing whereabouts you are going to be seeing the video, because we don't want a giant rectangle there, we only want it in the lens. So I am relatively happy with that. So I'm just going to move it back up to 100% because we do want it fully resolution when we are exporting, of course, so you don't want to forget doing that. Then what I'm going to do, over at the top, we go to Select. So again, making sure that the video is selected. Go to Select and select Mask. Okay, so now you'll be able to see they're in a completely different window. So you can always cancel that if you want to go back to the beginning, and we're going to go OK once we're happy with everything. You've got the tools on the left-hand side here, and there's different tools, personal preference, and also what kind of mouse and trackpad that you're using. Mine's a little bit dodgy on this computer, so I'm going to use a different tool than maybe you will select. On the right-hand side is different views, and that's just personal preference, again, or whatever's easier for you. The overlay some people like to use, so it's really clear for you of know what you're highlighting. Personally, though, I like the onion skin layer because it shows me, especially something like this, I want to know where my sunglasses are so that I can actually see what it is that I'm doing. So I'm going to see the triangle there. That means that there's more selections for the tools. So I'm just going to click and hold that lasso. Okay. And I'm going to select the polygonal lasso there. And this is just easier for me because my trackpad is a little bit dodgy. Might actually zoom in a bit. So you've got the magnifying glass there, got the plus button. You can also minus if you want, but I need to zoom in just to make this easier for my editing. So I'm going to zoom in. Use the hand again to maneuver of what I'm going to do. There we go. Once you're happy, I'm going back to my lasso. This may take a little while, but I'm going to very, very carefully, and the more careful you are, obviously the better quality that you're going to do. I'm going to do this really fast and a little bit zigzaggy, just for demonstration purposes, because I don't want this going on forever. But as you see, as I'm doing a pretty shoddy job, I'm missing a lot of spots there. Okay, grab that hand again, move over to the next side, grab my lasso, and I do the next part. Now, if you can't see this very clearly, then you can actually change the settings on the right hand side. Again, it's just totally up to personal preference, whatever that you choose. And as you have a play around, as you have a bit of a learn, you will get better and better at it. And nearing the end, there we go, that's selected. See the transparency, this is what I'm talking about. If you move it up again, now it becomes a little bit more noticeable that I've missed a lot of jagged. So again, personal preference. I'll show you what I'm talking about of how dodgy my mouse is right now. Using the brush, you would think nice and easy just to get those fine edges. My trackpad though just jumps from time to time. Believe it or not, it's actually working relatively right now. But it's not the best computer that I'm using. But the brush is just a nice little way. You can also go minus. You can also change the brush size if you want to make it bigger as well. Pretty happy with the size that I had. So all those different settings you can customize. There we go. Moving over to that side. Oh, look at that. That's terrible. Let's fix that one up as well. There we go. And there we go. Perfect. As good as I like it. I'm going to select OK. There we go. I want to zoom back out. Forgot to zoom out there. So there's another magnifying glass there. Zoom out. Look at that. Might go a little bit closer. Go. Okay. So here we have now on our timeline, if we hit play, okay, it disappears for a bit, and that's because I haven't quite finished it properly. So what we're going to do is just maneuver our video. So if we don't want it to be displayed there, I'm going to make it a bit shorter, make the picture of me a bit longer. So all of this that I can actually adjust. Also, if I go to settings, yep, loop playback, so I can see it loop over and over again. Sometimes the preview just does not work for me, but it is actually working. It's just not playing. Then once we're finished and we're happy with it, as you can see, I've got a nice flow there. I go to File. I go to Export, and I go to Render Video. You then give it a name, select the folder that you want to save it into. So I've already got my Cinemagraphs, and I can call that Final and Render.